Welcome to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 573. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee is with me from his home away from home, the place where he's quickly settling in. He looks comfortable. This is when I wish we were doing a video podcast, to be honest with you, because I am staring at you on my computer screen right now, sitting outside, got this beautiful blue Denver, Colorado sky behind you. You fit in right there, man. You're looking good in Denver.
I'm telling you, man, it is nice here, man. I got me a morning walk-in early today. Everybody be walking their pets like all the time, everywhere. So we got out at like 8 this morning, and we probably encountered like 15 other dogs and stuff walking around. Like in Vegas, people don't be walking their shit. It's too hot.
It's too hot.
You don't see your neighbors. But here, people be walking their animals everywhere. So it's gorgeous. But yeah, the weather is just fantastic. But yeah, no, the Denver feels kind of good. It fits pretty good. And yeah, to be able to do a podcast outside is always nice. So yeah, I was going to tape inside, but was like, let's go sit outside.
I like it. Take advantage of the environment, man. That's not an environment you get very often. So I dig it. All right, look, episode number 573. I did the math, Cold Coffee. Did the math. 11 years and 1 week, if you can believe that, man. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Crazy, right? Consecutive.
That's crazy.
Never miss an event. I started wondering because I know around this time of the year is when we kind of started it. So I was like, hold on, let me do that. Last year would have completed 11 straight years, and this is week number 1, man. Pretty wild to see.
Incredible. Let's go. Another 11 years. Let's go. Yeah, it's been quite the ride, man. Quite the ride and quite the run of things. So I'm loving it, man. 11 years. What else would we rather be doing than doing this podcast every week, And if we could do it for another 10 years, another 11 years, let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. All right, listen, we got a lot to get to. Before we do, though, I did have to say one thing. It's a great weekend. As we sit here and we're recording, the NCAA Wrestling Championships are underway. I got the Matcast open on my iPad right here, so I'm watching all that. Match day made me a college wrestling fan, so I'm into that. We've got PFL in Spain on Friday. By the way, the scenes over there in Spain, man, that country is MMA crazy right now, seeing the open workouts and all that. But with it being in Europe, of course, that means that we got daytime fights on Friday, which I always like daytime fights. And, of course, UFC London.
That's always good.
It is good. And UFC London, same thing on Saturday, so we're going to be talking about that later on as well. But that also means daytime fights. A lot of good things. Busy weekend, a lot to watch, a lot to be excited about. But I would be remiss at the UFC London event if I didn't say I was thinking a lot about our boy Abby, man. We had so many great times over in London. Simon Head, Pear was around, Abby as well. And so, I won't get us all emotional and bring us down again, but I just felt like a UFC London event without a mention of our brother would be a failure,
Yeah, I mean, especially this one. It's the first one, The first one's always the hard one. It obviously with time things gets easier, but yeah, this was the first one. Like he would have been there, and we would have been able to kind of have some boots on the ground and get to chat with them, which we always miss the chatting. But yeah, but with Abby's absence, we don't have anybody on the ground in London. So, yeah, just it's the first of really feeling his absence. It's the immediate of not having boots on the ground for the London thing. And I did want to almost reach out because I've said before I'm traveling to less and less events now with the travel budgets being changed. I know I'm going to Rousey Carano and the White House. That's it, But this was an event that I was almost trying to push to see if I could go, but because I had my own personal reason, I wanted to get over there and I wanted to go see Abby's family and I wanted to go see Abby and stuff while we were there. So it was like my own little guilty, pleasure and my own, I had my own little reasons, but obviously, that's not good enough for them to let somebody go over there or whatever. But still, it's a good card. But yeah, we're definitely feeling Abby's loss, and I guess I'll just say it now because it's gone public, and Junkie's eventually about to say it. There's the person that will never fill Abby's position, but with Abby's loss, there was an opening now at Junkie for a multimedia producer, and that position just went live today. So people can go to Gannett and put it online. But I know Simon was going to, if he hasn't already, was going to tweet something about it on the Junkie X account. So when people see that position opening up, that is in part because of the loss of our brother Abby. So like we said, nobody's gonna replace Abby, but in trying to keep the head count and trying to keep Junkie strong, that's the next step. So that's what this position that people will eventually see here, maybe even today. It might even be out by now, but I know at some point it's going to be notified on our X account and stuff.
It's funny because I could see some people saying, well, I feel a little weird, applying for a role that I know is only available because of Abby's loss. And I would understand that little bit of concern. But, man, if Abby wasn't the dude that was always trying to reach out and pick everybody up and give them opportunities and assist them in becoming who they are, you know what I mean? So it's like, obviously it's a terrible way for a job opening to come about, but just know that man is sitting down, looking down, and will be happy for you because that's the kind of passion he had, the kind of joy he gave out. He was always trying to build people up more than anybody I think I've ever met in my life. Was always trying to build people up around him, man. So I guess don't feel weird about that if it gives you even a second of hesitation.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you put it like that because this is the first time that I can remember anybody that, granted, other times people have left the company and went elsewhere. We never backfilled those positions.
Right.
Not that Abby's absence was him leaving the company. He didn't leave it in a traditional manner.
Right.
But they've never backfilled a position before. But in going with like what you said, Abby would love for the next generation or whatever, they're actually filling this. They're actually moving forward. So almost like he's saying, like, guys, don't fucking let this position drop off to wherever. Like, help the team out, bring in the next generation, and let's see. So people will see that, that is. So if you guys have ever tried to, like, say, hey, man, I think I got the chops. I think, I'd love to be part of Junkie, the time is now. You can go to Gannett.com or whatever, and eventually you'll see the thing. But I don't know. It's all kind of fitting together that you brought that and we're talking about it, and I was like, holy shit, they just approved the position. It's live today. So so let's go.
Check it out, man, because there's not a lot of full-time positions in this industry that open up. You know what I mean? So
I don't know of any other one. I don't know of any other position that's open right now that's like this.
So
this is it.
This is an opportunity.
This is the one time.
When people say, hey, I just need a shot, I want to get into it, man, this is it. So jump on that. Hopefully you guys get some great applications and somebody gets a great opportunity in their career.
Yeah, the only downfall is that you're going to be working with me, dog, whoever you are. You might be reporting to me.
That takes a certain temperament. I will, after 11 years of being a podcast co-host with you and many more years beyond that on the road, I will just give a fair warning to anybody involved that the man does go through some mood swings sometimes. There's some high. It's working with cold coffee is like the sport of MMA. It's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
Lowest of lows. We don't know what the percentage is, but there's a percentage of both.
There's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days, but you're working in a sport you love, and so that's what matters, man. Oh, that's too funny.
That's funny.
That's funny. All right, well, listen, you talked about the two events that you're traveling to, and honestly, I think those are the two most talked about events going on right now, so I want to touch on those before we kind of break down UFC London, because the first story I wanted to get to was this White House story and the overseeing Athletic Commission. It seems like this has been a lot of big headlines this week. And for anybody that didn't see it, essentially the Washington, D.C. Commission came out and they said, listen, man, we don't even know what's going on with this White House event. It's being held on what is technically federal land, which I'll be honest, I didn't even know the geography of how Washington, D.C. works, that some of it is D.C. and some of it is federal land. But they said, because it's on federal land, we haven't been consulted about this event, and we think it's going to go, we think they're going to self-regulate. We're not sure, but bottom line is we're saying I don't even think these fights should count. These should not be sanctioned fights. These should not go on these athletes' records. And, it's like, what a weird little bit of posturing. You know what I mean? Here we are. This is the UFC. Yep. You're saying Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje, like Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane. I mean, you're saying that these fights, these are unsanctioned, illegal. Like, what are we doing? Come on. So UFC
Yeah.
comes back a couple days later. They don't comment directly, but they come out a couple days later and say, actually, the Association of Boxing Commissions as a whole is going to be overseeing our event. Timothy Shipman is actually going to be in charge. Tim Shipman, by the way, runs the Florida Commission now. He was actually at our event last week in Tampa. Tim Shipman is a fantastic regulator. He was at our weigh-ins. He was at our fights in Tampa. I believe a former Marine was his kind of first life before he got into all this. So, trustworthy, committed individual, but he's going to be overseeing it. But, it's made a lot of headlines, and I don't know that necessarily people are understanding exactly, because it seemed to be a little bit sensationalized that the UFC had gone rogue or they're doing whatever, and that's just simply not the case. I mean, first of all, the UFC, number one, self-regulates quite a bit overseas and in certain areas, or if they don't self-regulate, they've actually helped set up sanctioning bodies in multiple nations around the world. Obviously, Mark Ratner has assisted with that, so they would never try to skirt. It's just not worth it to them. Like, what would they be trying to get around? So I didn't understand that, and to be honest with you, it just sounded to me, and I don't know. Obviously, the UFC, and I think you've actually even been to Washington, D.C. when you were still working with the UFC. The UFC has done events in Washington, D.C. proper, worked with the Washington, D.C. Athletic Commission. PFL, I've been there for PFL events where they worked with the Washington, D.C. Athletic Commission. I actually enjoyed Mario Yamasaki is a part of the Washington, D.C. Athletic Commission. He's actually like one of the regulators, so it's always fun to see him. So anyway, all I'm saying is I thought it was a very, very weird statement from the D.C. Athletic Commission that felt to me like maybe they were just a little frustrated that they're not going to be getting sanctioning fees from this major event that would come along with some big, big tax revenue, and also probably a little bit hurt that they just don't get to be at the event, right, to be part of the event. I mean, obviously, Vegas, California, I mean, they're doing a ton of events, especially Nevada. But, Washington, D.C. doesn't get a chance to do a ton of events. So I'm sure they were all very, very excited about the opportunity of being involved with this just from a fan perspective almost, where they enjoy it. You know what I mean? They like being a part of it. And then, of course, as I said, those tax revenues as well, I'm sure were motivating as well. So, I don't know. I thought it was a little bit of posturing, but I felt like people were kind of looking at it the wrong way and thinking like the UFC was trying to skirt or get around something, when that's certainly not the case.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's silly for people to think that the UFC is not going to have some sort of regulation. I mean, like, this is not backyard brawls, number 1 and 2. Like, it's such a major thing, but I think it's exactly how you hit it on the head. They don't get a lot of events. This was their chance to be the big guys at a huge event, and I would think that, and we chatted a little bit about before we started this as well, like if the UFC goes back to places where they feel welcome and where things go well for them, like maybe not a lot of pushback from from the commission, and they have the right buildings and all this other sort of stuff. They haven't been to Washington often. Right. They don't go there often. The first time I went, you looked it up. It was back in 2011 was when I think I went there, and they only went one time after that. So it's not a place that they get many events. And you can only think that, one, it's probably a pain in the butt to do an event maybe just in Washington, D.C. in general, but let alone if they had hard times doing it and they were getting pushback, they probably just like, let's not deal with it. And we know Dana. Once you rub Dana and the organization wrong, they just choose to not work with you. That's just the way they do it. So, yes, they're missing out on money that commission could easily use for other stuff. It's going to be a huge amount of money that's getting thrown around. So the fact that they're missing out on that. But again, we've seen it with the UFC in Vegas. The commission gets given a ton of ringside seats that people would love to boast. People would love to be there. They're going to pull their favors to get access to these things, and they're being denied all of it. And at the end of the day, these commissions, it's the good old boy system. They're all appointed committees and all this other stuff. No, they're not getting elected into these things. So somebody's placing them, so they're friends with somebody or they know somebody, so they're used to giving things. And when you skirt that, they're feeling like, how are you going to go around me? Me of all people, So I'm sure they're taking it a little bit personal, but they're going to the right people. They're using the actual ABC, like with everybody references these guys on so much stuff. So they're going to be okay. Yep. I mean, we've seen the UFC do the self-regulation overseas and other stuff, and I mean, like, just to even put that out there, it was just. They definitely made it about themselves to even put that statement. It's one thing to say, hey, we're a little upset they're not going to use us or whatever, but to try to say like, oh, we're not sure if these are even going to be sanctioned. In our opinion, it's like, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop doing that weird shit. Like, that's just ridiculous. They're making it about themselves, which makes me think that they're just butthurt because they're not going to be there on the ground in this one-of-a-lifetime thing when they haven't had but 2 events in the past 12 years, or something. So, or 15 years, whatever. So yeah, it's just calm down, DC.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that was
it's posturing.
Yeah, I think that was the part exactly right. Like, if they wanted to make the argument, they're like, hey, we understand it's federal land, but geographically we're the closest people here. We understand the market. We understand, you know what I mean? Like, there's all those arguments to be made where you could say, hey man, I know you don't technically have to use this because this is federal land, but let me explain why I think you should and why it would be beneficial for us to be involved in this. But I thought the statement of coming out and being like, hey, man, these shouldn't even be sanctioned fights, I thought that kind of – it just wasn't a good look, man. It wasn't a good look. So it's not like the UFC is going to all of a sudden, oh, by the way, there's no drug testing now, or, you know what, we're not even going to do actual weigh-ins. You just have to show up and tell us what your weight is. It's all going to be run the same way. Like
tell us what your weight is.
Yeah, just tell us.
We trust you, bruh.
You got a scale in your room. You just tell us what it said. 145? 145 it is.
Good.
Yeah, so I don't know. I thought that was a little bit silly, and I think a lot of the stories and the media coverage that were out there weren't really getting to the heart of it. So I just kind of wanted to speak on that a little bit, maybe clarify a little bit of what seemed like controversy. Didn't really seem like controversy. It just seemed like a little bit of a political posturing, if I'm being honest with you. So,
what do we think about your boy Colby Covington trying to hijack your boy Dawkins' fight with Bo Nickel?
Bo Nickel. I know. You know what, man? I mean, listen. If Colby Covington and Bo Nickel want to have a fight and want to face off against each other, I think it'd be fun. I think the build-up would be great. Obviously, Colby Covington, when he's involved, especially if it's something where he's really motivated, where it's not like some kind of tired. So I think him and Bo would be a fun little build-up. You know what I mean? I think they'd go at it. But I don't want anything getting taken away from my boy Kyle Dawkins, man. Don't take it away.
I know.
You guys can do it after the White House, man. Don't take this away. I'm so. It's funny because Kyle, if you've seen on social media, like, he's kind of rolling with it, right? Like, he's putting down memes and laughing and whatever. But I hate that he's become like the insult of the card. Like, literally anybody that talks about this card is like, yo, you said it was going to be the greatest event ever, and now I got Kyle Dawkins on there. I'm like, come on, man. Leave my guy Kyle Dawkins alone. That's CFSC royalty right there. You're a good dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people were surprised that Colby got left off. I mean, like, a lot of people, definitely coming out there and like, this is the guy that very first started, like, playing the stick of I love Trump. He's our king. He's our leader. And the fact that he he got overlooked, I can definitely see he was a little butthurt. But I was a little surprised, even though while he was talking about Bo, that he was being very complimentary of Dawkins. And I was like, dude, you want that fight? You want to steal his fight, but then you're like complimenting him at the same time. I was like, you figure you would talk trash or whatever. But I did like the fact that he was complimenting Kyle. But I mean, like, what can you say about Kyle? There's not a bad thing. And the guy's done the work. I mean, the guy was there, got relegated, I guess, if you will, busted ass, got a belt in another organization, came back to the UFC and started wrecking shit. It's like, if you're just hating on that, then you're literally playing a character, So I guess I was glad that he wasn't on that, but I just thought it was funny that he was trying to hijack that thing. But obviously, Colby Covington, if you thought about a guy that they were going to try to get on the UFC card at the White House, I think he was on top of a lot of people's list of who we thought would maybe get that call because of his self-reported closeness to President Trump. Yep. So it's a little interesting how that played out. But yeah. Whatever. But I had to bring that up because I knew we were about to switch off the White House. But I just figured we talk a little bit about how Colby was trying to hijack that fight from your boy Dawkins.
It is weird that Colby isn't on the card. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it does seem like he was the most natural fit. I mean, other than like, obviously we know Kayla Harrison's neck issue, but you would have assumed Kayla would be on there as the 2-time Olympian. That you think she'd be on there, but we know why she's not. But I did think Colby would be on the card, so it is a little bit strange. I don't know what happened exactly behind the scenes, and and again, here you go about people saying things, not really giving you a straight issue. I saw that he was doing like I think a stream with somebody or whatever, and saying like the UFC hasn't even offered him fights. Like that, that's not true. They're contractually obligated to offer you fights. They can't just leave you sitting there. Now, if you turn
Did
down
that come
fights,
before or after the White House? Did that come after the White House thing? I saw that same sort of thing that you're talking about, but I was trying to place the timing, and I thought it came out after the White House card. Did it go up before the White House card?
No. I think it was after. I think honestly, like he's going a little bit scorched earth because he's frustrated. You know what I mean? But that's not.
Yeah,
it's not true.
Because he's frustrated.
If you're if the UFC is not offering you fights, then by all means you need to take them to court because they are now legally, have defaulted on your contract and they have to let you go. I mean, they're contractually obligated to offer you a certain number of fights within a year. So if you really are being frozen and not given anything, then go to court and get yourself out of your contract because they're in default. So that's the kind of stuff I hate sometimes is seeing is and I get it. You got to play aside and you're trying to get public support one way or the other. But if you're going out there and saying stuff that's not true, I don't know, man. That's not good. And that's not. When the matchmakers and when the brass see that and they see that you're not telling the truth, like that's not helping your cause at all either. You're just trying to make them look like the bad guys.
Yep. And I mean, and unfortunately, I mean, like Colby plays a heel really, really good, and they know that there's a lot of stuff that goes on in fight week because of that stuff. If we've had shit pop off in Brazil at hotels and with other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff associated with Colby, by proxy, just from the stuff. And the place where you want to, I think, kind of keep shit to a minimum, it's going to be at the White House, where security and everything else is already going to be crazy. The last thing you need is fighters trying to pop off and start some shit midweek when security's already going to be crazy high because you're going to have so many eyeballs on it. I think that we're just trying to alleviate some potential problems and just nip them in the bud.
You're not wrong there.
Maybe there was maybe they wanted him on the card, but when they boiled down to it, that they had to put a risk assessment to all the fighters that they wanted to, who can stay within this threshold and who is too potential to be a tinderbox. And you cannot say that Colby doesn't have that risk of being a tinderbox and starting something bigger outside of his fight and not being able to keep it together. I mean, and if you're like that, it could have been just along those reasons. I'm sure they wanted to, but again, and it comes down to matchups.
Yep.
Right now he's trying to sell the matchup to Bo and other stuff, but nobody was certainly thinking about it beforehand. So he's trying to do his part to think about it. But I think they needed the right matchups for people, and they needed to make sure that somebody wasn't going to do some dumb shit during fight week. Yeah. And I think the people, when you look down the list of the people that are on the card, all those people on the card are going to play along, and they're going to stay in their lane. They're going to show up. They're going to do all the fight week stuff, and they're not going to cause any extracurricular activities that's going to put any fight or the whole event in jeopardy. And I don't know if we could say the same. Colby probably would say, yes, I can, but bro, we've been seeing this for years.
It's a good point.
This is an event where if he's ever want to try to come out and talk shit and really say some stuff in his pro USA thing, it's probably going to be this one. And maybe if he could try to keep it, but I just think that he's shown in the past that he's a little bit of a risky, risk.
Yeah,
a risky risk.
No, it's true.
I couldn't think of a better way.
That's actually a good point, man. I bet that did factor into it, man, because again, there's just already so much going on there. So. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I know it's still going to be a point of discussion, and we got months till we get to it. But definitely worth mentioning.
Well, I will tell you something. Just one thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Behind the curtain about that is that everybody knows that there's going to be extra security stuff going in or whatever. So just behind the curtain, when you apply for a lot of events, they start putting the credentials on the portal, the press portal, and you can start doing. But usually, if it's a far enough advanced event, you don't get your approval for months. You don't get your approval for time because there's other events going on. I've already got my approval for the White House. There's events before the White House that are pending. So I'm wondering if they had to start the process early on the Freedom 250 card just to start whatever the next step of things is going to be. I just thought that was odd. Maybe you would agree with me, or maybe you think I'm thinking too much about it.
No.
But it's just odd that two events that are happening before the UFC in Washington, my credentials are still pending. But I've been approved for the White House card, so which makes me think that there's going to be multiple steps, but I had to clear that initial hurdle already.
Well,
So I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I just thought that was odd that I was already approved for it, and there's other ones that I'm not approved for that are happening before that event.
well, 2 points that I want to make off of that. One is that I think you're right, and the second one being I just went and put my application in while you were talking because I didn't even know it was on there. I was like, that's a really good point because
Oh yeah, it's rather. I think it was just like 3 days, or it was less than a week. I just go on there because I have a bad habit of thinking I forget to apply. So when I went there the other day, I was like, oh shit, it's already there. And then they put all the way
Well,
up through, like, there's some ones in May or whatever. Because me being the dummy, just to show you more behind the curtain, I previously did not pick the May 16th because I knew it wasn't going to be there. But in my haste of after seeing whatever the other day, I was like, oh look, I forgot. I left off this Vegas one. Why would I do that? And I applied for it. Then immediately after, I was like, you dumbass. You didn't apply for that before because you're going to be at Rousey Carano. So then I had to hit up the PR. I was like, yo, just deny my request, or can you just take that off? I was like, I'm a dumbass. I'm not even going to be in Vegas,
That's
but
too
I
funny.
just applied for the event. So
That's too funny.
it's
No,
kinda
I,
funny.
I literally did just fill out my application. I didn't know it was on there, but I think you make a good point. I'm
Get
sure
your application
I
in.
did. It's in now. I mean, I literally just did it while we were talking because you're right. I'm sure they're going to cut that off because it's going to have like background checks and extra. Maybe not, but I would
There's gotta
imagine
be.
there has to
Gotta
be.
be.
Has to be something. You know what I mean?
There
So-
has to be. I would be really surprised that they're going to take our name, and I guarantee the FBI and everybody's checking everybody, whether it's us knowingly doing something. I'm sure there's going to be a next step that we have to do or whatever, but I guarantee that all the names are being submitted and they're running background checks on all of us.
Yep.
You know.
I would think so as
So
well.
I've been wondering why this black sedan was following me the other day, and that it's probably
There's this maintenance van that keeps sitting outside my house, like a block down. It's
so weird. I don't have anything to. Yeah, it's so weird.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, listen. You talked about the Rousey Chrono card. Obviously, the other big news this week is Mike Perry versus Nate Diaz. What a fantastic addition, man. I mean, obviously you're going to be there. I won't be at that one, but
huge.
how exciting is that? They're doing a great job with this card in terms of just getting every relevant name. And I've heard some more names that they're still talking about adding, but this was a fantastic addition. I think they hit the nail on the head. Home run.
Yeah, this is incredible. I mean, it's just a wonderful matchup. I mean, Francis Ngannou, again, the name that people are like, okay, cool. Philip Limbs, he's a quality fighter. I'm glad that they brought him on to be an opponent for Francis.
Right.
This has A and A side.
Yeah.
A, maybe B side, but they're both A side type fighters that have their, their reputations, their fight styles, they're going to talk trash, they're going to get in each other's face. More than likely, there's going to be fights in the fight week, and there's going to be tussles going on at face-offs. There's going to be shit being talked in the press conference. But in terms of beloved MMA fighters,
Yep.
Nate Diaz, you don't get much bigger than that. Perry has his own following, but I mean, it's not like the Diaz. I mean, the Diaz boys are about as beloved as anyone in the game.
Yep.
I mean, there's legends in the sport, and then there's legends that are beloved that, never reached the Mount Rushmore of MMA. But in terms of fan love and people that will just stand in line to see a dude show up and, walk around and then leave, and then the crowd's like, I love that.
Yep.
I loved every moment of that. I'm like, bro, he gave you nothing. No, but he gave us his time, and I'm just like, they love that dude. So to bring him onto this fight and give him a fun opponent like Mike Perry, it's a win-win. Like, they knocked it out of the park. I mean,
think so,
I
too.
can't think of a funner, better matchup of who could potentially be added to the card that can be any better than that, than outside of bringing, Anderson Silva to fight like GSP or something.
Oh.
Like, you're not going to get the legends to fight, but like, this is it, like, outside of like making a dream fight that everybody wanted, this is two people that people thought that they wouldn't see fight in MMA again. Definitely Diaz. They thought, he's been done. He stepped away, and Perry, like, his career, he went on and became really great in BKFC and found his whole niche, man, and he's thriving. But people still love the dude. But I mean, like, Nate Diaz, man, to get him on that card, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I agree.
fantastic. It is. They're knocking it out of the park in terms of like fight value just with Ronda and Carano, and then let alone Diaz and Perry, in terms of like outside of the Topuria fight. They're funner matchups that people are going to be more excited to see than, I don't want to throw your boy under the bus, but I mean, like a Bo Nickel fight, like I'll go from the other side, as opposed to a Bo Nickel fight. Who would people rather see? They're going to want to see Nate Diaz fight.
Yep.
The card is shaping up to be absolutely incredible, and we have no idea what else is going to be on it. This is only 3 fights that we know of.
I know.
Like you said, there's other stuff in the works, bro. This card is going to be fantastic. I mean, like, already with the 3, it's worth the value of one, getting your Netflix your subscription. Like, bro, you don't have to pretty much pay for this because you all already have Netflix.
Man,
it's ridiculous. They're just giving us more goodness for free.
I was gonna say, like, is there ever a better time to be a combat sports fan than right now? Right? Like, I mean, Netflix, who you probably already have Netflix. Yeah. I mean, I do, you do. I assume most people in the country do. So you probably already got that. Now, the UFC on Paramount Plus, no pay-per-view. I mean, for pay-per-view going away, I mean, this is a great time to be a fan.
Crazy.
Oh, man. For years, we're just used to paying like $60-$70 every single week, every time we want to see something, and now that's not the case anymore. So I love it. So I'm with you. I think they're nailing. I think, Rousey, Carano, brilliance, 2 of the biggest name ever. Just getting Francis Ngannou back in the mix. Like you said, the fight with Felipe Lin's not the one that gets people excited, but nonetheless, having Francis Ngannou on the card is awesome. And then, home run here with Perry and Diaz as well. It's great. So now everybody is – the comparison I see everybody making is, which card is better? Is Netflix better, or is the White House card better? And to me, I think it's kind of 2 totally different things, right? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
It's not really the same. Because the other thing I see in the discussion about this is, MVP and Netflix, man, this is going to be a new rival to the UFC. And I just, as I step back and look at it, I don't see it that way. Like, I do think, like, there's no way. I mean, already Netflix and MVP, the buzz that they're generating around this event, I think even if they just left it as it is right now, they're already doing at least event number 2, if not multiple down the road, because they're getting some buzz. They're getting some heat on this. This is good. But so I think, MVP and Netflix are in this game to stay. Like, I don't believe this is a one and done, but I also don't believe that they're trying to have 40 cards a year like the UFC and, have 600 athletes on the roster and, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know that you can really say it's a rival. And again, it's not like we're determining who the best in the world is here with any of these fights that we're doing. It just, they do a good job of picking names that people care about and that people do want to tune in, even if they're well past their prime. So I don't know. To me, I feel like it's almost an unfair comparison to be like, hey, man, which one of these is better? Because it's like they're 2 totally different things.
Yep. 2 totally different things that are happening a month apart.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just us being weird and MMA fans just being weird and wanting to compare one thing against another when they're 2 different events targeting, in a sense, 2 different people. There's overlap in the fans that are going to want to watch both of them, but it's not like we have to. They're not happening on the same night. It's not like this is the Super Bowl or you're going to watch the Turning Point Super Bowl halftime. It's not like you watch one or the other. Like, they're literally a month apart. You can watch both of them. You're paying nothing for either one of them practically. But just people want to just find one way to put one thing against another. Where at the end of the day, it's all MMA, and we're all winning for both of them. And they're both great, and we get to – it's just amazing because, like you said, I mean, what a great time for MMA. There's neither one of these events where you have to reach into the wallets and pay $90 to watch. And they're both incredible. So I get it where, Braun and them are saying the things they're saying, but it's their job to try to drum up a little bit of – our card's better than them, blah, 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 tune into us, because they're trying to get people to actually tune into their show. But us on the side to run with it and start taking that theme and making it something we don't need to. We don't need to let them as the promoter. Let them do that part. You
Yep.
know, we don't need to get caught up in like, okay, yeah, it's this one. I like this one better because it's like, bro, I'm gonna watch both. I'm gonna love both of them
Yes.
for different reasons. But in terms of, I don't think that they're going to be rivals because one, you can't find the names like they are bringing together for this one and be able to repeat that 40 times.
Right.
It's not going to happen. It's
True.
not. It's not possible. And if they are able to do 5 cards in the year, I still don't consider them a rival. I consider them a fun MMA promoter that's capable of putting on fun stuff. But even 5 could be tough because at some point, we've seen the matchups that we didn't think that we can happen. Ronda said like this is done, so we're not going to see Ronda again. And will depend on how Gina performs. And is that even enough to bring Gina against Cyborg? Or, if Cyborg says, hey, Ronda, let's do this, and Ronda agrees, maybe we see Ronda again. But will that happen this year? Will that be next year or whatever? I just don't think they have enough of these quality names that are going to be able to promote and get the big the hubbub about them.
Agreed.
This card is going to work because they do have it. But to do that multiple times is going to be an absolute incredibly tough time to challenge to do it. And I don't think it's possible because I don't think the people exist out there that want to do it, that are even, Khabib says he's done. They're not going to get Khabib coming back. Conor, of course, if you could find a matchup, Conor would do it for the money or whatever, but he's still tied up with the UFC.
Yep.
So, I mean, you just don't have the people out there. So I don't consider them a rival, but I consider them an MMA promoter that's capable of putting on a fight that's every bit as noteworthy and has a buzz about as the White House card. But they're different in their own right as well. Like the White House card is unique in the fact that it's never been done. It's actually happening at the White House, which is just bonkers. And, a lot of us are going to the card because of that. I'm not going to the card because I want to see Ilya Topuria fight Justin Gaethje or Bo Nickel fight Kyle Dawkins. I'm going because I want to see
bad
a
about my
fight
boy
card,
Kyle.
an MMA event. I know. I just keep bringing it up just because I want to rile you up. I want to see the White House card. I don't really. Even before they announced whoever's going to be on the card, we all wanted to go to the White House card.
Yep.
That hasn't changed for me. So I don't see it as this event versus that event type thing. I see them as 2 fun events that I'm going to be happy and proud and really excited to be there. And, that's just the MMA fan in me. That's just the junkie or whatever. But, yeah, I think people are trying to make this card versus this card. And, yes, we can just, if we want to just break it down and just because we have nothing else to talk about and people were like, well, I mean, I guess there's people that do like 15 fantasy leagues. I'm like, bro, you have enough time to do whatever. I was like, if we want to just have like which event is better just because we got plenty of free time on our hands and like, yeah, we can humor the idea, but I'd be rather thinking like, why pit them against each other? Because I think they're both valuable in their own right, and I don't want to put one against the other because I think they're both equal in their different things. Like MVP's bringing back people we thought weren't ever going to see fight again. The UFC is doing an event that's never been done before and it's never going to happen again. They're both unique in their own little ways. So, but I'm excited for both of them.
No,
and I get to be at both of them. So
that's awesome.
I love it.
You're picking the big ones to go to. I know you don't travel as much, but you're picking the right ones, man. That's for sure. So.
I got the 2 big ones.
Look, it still goes back to what I've said for years and years and years, and I'll continue to say it. To me, if it's important for you to say I am the best fighter in the world in my weight class, you have to be in the UFC simply because the depth of the roster, right? The depth of the quality of challenges that you're going to get over and over and over. Not that all the best fighters in the world are on the UFC roster. That's not what I'm saying. But, I think part of being, I am number 1 in the world right now is because I beat number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've had multiple title defenses. I've been able to turn back multiple contenders. And I think to do that, you have to be in the UFC because, as you said it, I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, even when Francis Ngannou left, right? Francis Ngannou, the lineal heavyweight champion, but he left, and we all said, but who's he going to fight? There's nobody out there. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to put together? And so when you're in the UFC, you have challenges ready for you at all times. And so I think that is important. But if it doesn't matter to you what people say, and similar to what Francis Ngannou said the other day at the press conference, right? Like, what does legacy mean? I need to get my bills paid. Like, legacy doesn't put my kid in school. That's a very fair thing to say. So if you don't care about people saying you're the best in the world, if that's not what's most important to you, and the only thing that matters to you is making money, then there are other options out there for you. However, I will say this, though, in fairness, every single one of these athletes on the roster made their name in the UFC. You know what I mean? So it's like, use that platform. That is the thing that, and I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit with Zuffa Boxing, right? Like, if you can use the UFC's platform to build yourself up, to then create other opportunities for yourself, then that's a smart way to go about doing it. And I think that's what athletes have to be aware of. Like, I still don't think you can take away how big the UFC machine is and how important it is to the industry. There are opportunities outside of it, but if you never even want to dabble in the UFC pool, if you never even want to stick your toe in that water over there, it's going to be a little tough for you to build your name up to the level that you can by fighting in the UFC. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's a lot of different paths. I think people are kind of opening the blinders a little bit, but I like what you're saying too, because I kind of feel the same way. It's like, why does one have to exist over the other? Like, why can't we just celebrate them all? Because I'm a fight fan and I want to watch all of it.
That's it.
All right.
Because at the end of the day, it's just fights and it's fun. I'm here for both of it.
100%. All right. Well, listen. Here's one more event that we don't have to pay for, and that is UFC London this week. Movsar Evloev versus Lerone Murphy. Fantastic fight on. I mean, how many times in MMA period do you see 19-0 versus 17-0-1? I mean, that is spectacular. I feel like this main event is not getting a ton of love, especially given just how high quality the athletes are that are involved in it. I get it. Neither one of these are big trash talkers. Lerone obviously has got an incredible backstory. Movsar gets criticized a little bit because of the lack of finishes, and also he's struggled, he's had injuries. His fight style, and then also just the inconsistency of appearances, right? Because he's had some injuries, he's had some layoffs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, I mean, this is as good as it gets, and it's a number one contender fight, man. And so I think it's a big fight that probably deserves a little bit more love than it's getting.
Yep, I mean, and that's what it boils down to. I mean, I'm sure London, the fight fans there, they're happy at least one side of the main event is from there, and I think sometimes they get discouraged because it's not a title fight. But as you mentioned, I mean, it's a legit title contender fight. Like, these guys are fighting, and with those records, I mean, it's just sick. I mean, like, that's just, to be at this level and still have your is just, it's bonkers, man. It's incredible. So I mean, it's going to be a fun fight. I'm not sure. I forget. I think I went Evloev in my picks, but I mean, Lerone Murphy, man, especially a guy on home soil with hands. He's got incredible hands. But Movsar, man, Evloev's the real deal too. So I think it's a fun fight. I think it's a good card. Even when you go down the card, I mean, there's some fun fights. So I'm glad. I think London's getting a good one. I haven't heard much buzz, like people are upset, but I mean, in the past, I know that they've gotten upset because they don't get as many events over there as they used to get, and then to get, and I guess what would be a fight night as opposed to a numbered event. I'm sure they're just like, oh man, come on, But those fight fans, I mean, they're just nuts, man. Like we've said for so many years, those poor guys had to, stay up in the middle of the night or, stay up late or get up early to watch stuff. I mean, but the fight fans, that's the crazy thing about over there. They're going to be there from the first prelim to the very end, and loud at the very beginning. The fights are so fun to watch over there just for the fact. And I know a lot of times I'm the one that's like, I don't need to see the crowd when they're at the Apex. It's about the fights. But there is something that's pretty cool about watching the fights over in Europe, because they're nuts, man. And Australia's the same way.
Yes.
The fans are just bonkers, So I will side with people that think it's pretty darn cool to see fights in arenas in Europe and Australia, because they go absolutely bonkers. If fans in the U.S. were better like that, then okay, maybe I will clamor for more stuff here. But they deserve it over there, because those fans over there are bonkers, man, because they get it. They don't get enough of it, so when they do, they show up for the get-go, and they're just fun, and they're loud from the very beginning. I know the fighters absolutely adore that, and I always have a good time watching the crowd because I think the crowd there is just bonkers, man. But it just reminds me of all of our friends over there. They're
Yeah.
incredible people over there. So I know everybody over there that's in the crowd is like our buddies. So I'm always
They,
appreciative of watching this stuff. But yeah,
Hey, and this one I will say, man, they're getting this one in prime time too. Like this is one of those rare, when they get the numbered
yeah,
events, a lot of times they have to be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Because as you said, dude,
yeah.
I'm as hardcore as I am. I don't think I ever would have developed into as hardcore a fan as I am now if I was having to watch it at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like
Right?
it just man. I give a shout out to anybody that developed hardcore fandom while living in the UK, man. So or anywhere in Europe. So so at least they're getting this one in prime time. I'm with you on the pick with Mosar. Here's the one thing I keep thinking about because you talked about Lerone being on home soil. Maybe that gives him a little fraction of an energy extra. Mosar did get there a little bit late in the week. I don't think he did media day yesterday. I think he just arrived in town yesterday because I think he was having some travel issues, whatever. I don't know if that
Travel issues.
Yeah, I don't know if that impacts things or not. You know what I mean? Does he have a little bit of jet lag or whatever? But if it does, I mean that could play into it. Lerone obviously looked incredible against Aaron Pico last time out. Here's what I think though: if Mosar, if he isn't jet lagged, if his body's good, and I'm sure he was doing everything he could to address that. And obviously he's got all the UFC staff and everybody to help adapt and all that. And if he fights the way he fights, even though it's not necessarily always the most fan-pleasing or the most praised by the UFC, I think he has the job to get it done, right? He's got the style to do it. But I just wonder if maybe Mosar is feeling a little bit of pressure of like, I gotta fight outside of myself. I gotta do something spectacular, right? Like they've been denying me for so long. They haven't been, and I know why they're denying me. It's because I get decisions and blah blah blah. I mean, he's an intelligent guy and he's got a great team around him. It's not like he doesn't know why he's not getting the title shot. And so I keep thinking, what if he tries to fight outside of himself because he feels like I got to do something spectacular to finally get that title shot? Because if he doesn't do what he does every time, and he tries to do something a little spectacular, and maybe doesn't go to the wrestling as much, and maybe doesn't go to the control game as much, it really could open the door for Lerone, who is a phenomenal athlete. And so I lean like you with Mosar, but I wonder if that's an opportunity for a psychological battle or a pressure battle to have a real impact on a fight.
It's true. It's true. And I guess on the flip side too, we've always seen too where that extra pressure showing up for your home crowd sometimes makes people fight a little bit differently that way as well. So
Yep.
I can see that. I can see where Mosar, but I don't think you get to 17-0 or sorry 19-0 without being able to say like being able to control those emotions and stay in your head and fight the way that you fight without taking a loss somewhere, So even though this is a main event, he's going to be overseas or whatever. I think Mosar is the kind of guy that he can keep the emotions controlled. I'd be more worried on Lerone's side, just for that crowd getting him amped up. That first round or so, man, he's going to come out fired up, and so it'd be interesting. But no, I mean, there are some real stakes for this fight for both guys. But yeah, definitely on the terms of Mosar, it's going to be hard to deny. Looking at who he's went through in the past to get here, I mean, it's going to be hard to deny the guy. So I think he's just got to, tell him, and his team just needs to tell him, just stay the course, do what you do, get that win. It doesn't need to be flashy, it doesn't need to be whatever, but maintain your spot and make it, don't give them a reason to, to take that away. I mean, when you look, he got Aljo on his list. He's got Arnold Allen. He's got Diego Lopez, Dan Ige. I mean, like,
it's crazy.
The dude has fought
crazy,
some legit dudes, like you cannot deny, and then
crazy.
giving him a main event shot overseas in enemy territory, and he comes off and gets that, I think you can't deny regardless of how the fight ends. So hopefully just fights his fight, even if it's a decision, make it unanimous. Do your thing, dominate, and then at some point they can't keep denying you, regardless of your fight style, But the main thing you got to do, the only thing you control is control whether you're going to get that win or not, Don't do something stupid. Don't change what's working, So I'm sure his team's telling him that. Just, good on him. I mean, I know there's travel delays, but doesn't mean you can't. Most of the stuff right now is just finishing off the weight cut, and the strategy's already been done. It's just keep him focused. I've never really seen him have an issue with weight cuts in the past, and like to the point where we've thought he was going to fail. I'm dragging down his tapology. He has no misses. So I think he's going to be, the professional. He's going to show up ready.
I
And
agree.
that's the main thing I worry about when somebody shows up and they're having travel issues. Is what's the weight look like? Is there going to be, are there food issues that when he gets there? But I mean, it's the UK, for Pete's sake. It's not like he's going into middle of Brazil where there's maybe possible food dietary
Right.
restrictions or something. So. But no, I'm looking forward to it. But I think both guys are going to go out there, trying to put on a good show. But I envision it's going to be a pretty good battle. So yeah, but if he wins, regardless, I think he should get the shot.
You have to.
You can't keep denying the dude.
I was gonna say,
You have to.
if a dude is 20-0 and he's fought nothing but bums, it's still impressive that he never slipped on a banana peel anywhere. You know what I mean? But if he's 20-0 and by the way, I just beat Lerone Murphy, Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, Diego Lopez, Dan Ige. I mean, even going back to guys like Hakeem Duadu and Nick Lentz. I mean, those are legitimate.
Yeah,
I mean, like, come on, man.
I was gonna say those as well, but I was like, it was already good enough with just the ones already listed. Like
crazy.
The dude's
crazy.
His roster, his skins on the wall are legit. Like you, at some point, regardless of a dude's personality or fight style, you have to give him the shot. And and fans need to be appreciative of that, and they need to do their part and clamor for it and ask for that. Keep them honest. Keep the UFC matchmakers honest and say enough's enough. Give this guy a shot.
You have to.
So headlining this event, this is the matchmakers. I think this is a sign. We see it with the Apex cards. They put you on that main event. They're giving you a shot.
Yep.
Prove it.
Yep.
Oh, go out there and show us why you deserve the next shot. And both guys, I think, are going to do it. So get that win, boys, and then we'll see. I think he's got the quicker path than Lerone, obviously, if we're just going off numbers and stuff. But those skins on his wall are just incredible. Lerone's got some decent wins as well, but I mean, Mozar's wins are incredible. I mean, you look at Aaron Pico, Josh Emmett, who we just saw main event. He's got the same Dan Ige and Edson Barbosa. And then you can go to the line that's not Josh Kulabau's good, and Gabriel Santos. But I mean, bro, both these guys definitely are putting it up there. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a fun night of fights. And then that's just at the top of the card. There's other names on the list that are pretty exciting as well.
I was gonna say, and I love what you said about, hey, here's your opportunity, because here's what I feel. I know a lot's been made of, well, why isn't MVP in the co-main event? And I get that, and even why is he facing Sam Patterson? And I'd probably be more question of like, the placement of him not being in the co-main event than I am the matchup with Patterson.
Yeah.
He does have some training history with Patterson, unfortunately, so that may make it a little bit awkward between them or whatever, because from my understanding, I think MVP brought Sam Patterson in to mimic some of his past opponents, with the assumption being that Patterson was of a different generation, so they weren't ever really going to cross paths because of their timing, and now they end up matched up anyway. But I say all that to say that I like what they did here. Like putting Luke Riley and Michael Aswell Jr. in the co-main event. Young guys, Luke Riley, the super exciting guy, Aswell, a dude that's going to come out there and scrap as well. Like you're going to get two hammers going out there in the co-main event, and it's going to be fireworks. Yep. And Sam Patterson, even though I'm a little, I was surprised that this was the matchup. It shows me that, hey, maybe they're, deservedly so, by the way, with what he's done. Maybe the matchmakers are saying, hey, this win streak that he's put together, these 4 first-round finishes, we like what we see here, and let's elevate him. So you're seeing real opportunities for everybody in these top fights. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of like what they did here. It's unexpected card placement. It's unexpected matchmaking. But it's opportunities for guys, and that's all anybody can ask for, right? And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep, I think it's a perfect way of putting it, and I think if that's what's happening, that's the stuff that people should be appreciating when you're actually seeing that stuff. Where it's not about, okay, this guy's got a bigger name. Let's just throw him up. Like these are legit fighters that mean something in that division and have earned that spot. But and I mean, anytime to see Paige, I'm just happy to see Paige on the main card. It doesn't. I don't need to see him in the co-main. I mean, everybody, he's got the respect, and he's got the people are going to be happy to see him. I'd be more worried if he wasn't on the main card. Then I could see people. I'm like, oh, why isn't he? Whatever. But the fact that he's not the co-main, that's not a big deal for me. I mean, I like the fact that they're giving some other guys that are important to that area as well some shine. So. It's cool. But no, I mean the whole main card is good. I mean, Iwa Baranuski. I secure that last name.
But that dude is exciting though. That's a matchup.
So much fun,
bro. That's one matchup because Austin Lane is like the nicest dude ever. You know what I mean?
And, I know.
And this is not a good match. This is not a good matchup.
He might get murked. He was bad, man. But you're right, Austin. I swear he's another one. I know he likes when you interview him, but no, he's always when he comes into the media days and we see him fight week. He's literally a sweetheart. He's super nice.
Yeah.
Just happy or whatever, and then he goes out there and
they put him up against this Polish killer, dude. Like this dude is just it's like all first round finishes with this guy. It's
he's a beast.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
And
Dolidze versus Leroy Duncan. That's an amazing fight.
That's a great fight.
Fun. I actually picked Leroy Duncan on that.
Yeah, Leroy.
As much as Christian, he shows up, man, and he shows up big over there. Not that Roman won't, but he feels inconsistent to me these days. Like it depends on like what's going on outside of the cage and other stuff. There was a point where I would have probably ride or died if he was on there, and I'm just not that same way. But in this one, I just feel like he's just proven that he's a guy that especially he's fighting over there. I'm like, yep. I'm gonna pick him.
It's weird. It's weird.
But I think it's a great fight because it could still go either way.
Yeah. No, I think you hit the nail on the head with the inconsistency. Like sometimes I look at Dolidze and be like, dude, how does that guy ever lose? And then sometimes he comes in and he's just flat. Just doesn't look like he's there. So that's a good dude. Another and I think this fight card is going to be a lot of fun. Mason Jones and Akil Solo looks like it could be a lot of fun as well. So I like Mason Jones a lot, man. He's somebody that I really, really like his style. I was shocked when he left the UFC the first time, and I love to see him back in a big spot here. And he's had a couple big wins since he came back. So, I think it's gonna be a fun fight card, man. I really do. I think
it's a good card, man.
Yeah, I think if the UK if maybe they're feeling a little underwhelmed, like you said, getting a fight night and not a numbered event. I think anybody that got their tickets, just for me, at least looking on paper. I believe they're going to walk out of there going, damn, that was a fun night of fights.
Yeah, I think they chose the perfect fighters from that region and then some other fun fighters to sort of augment. But no, it's going to be a fun night of fights. I mean, there are going to be a lot of bangers. I think I could foresee a lot of finishes, a lot of submissions, some knockouts in there. I think the crowd's going to be happy from the get-go. And we've, some of these the past fight night we had the other night, people, it's funny, when I remember being there, I was like, this is a good night of fights. And people are like, dude, is this one of the best fight cards of the year? I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Some of these things just sort of sneak up on you. But this is another one of those cards that doesn't even really feel sort of sneaky. Like when you're looking on the list of who's on, you're like, bro, all these have really good potential of some exciting like fireworks.
Absolutely.
Not just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, there's gonna be a banger. Like, I don't want to like put it out in the universe just so the universe is like, oh, hold my beer. But I think there's going to be a lot of finishes, and I think there's going to be a lot of exciting fights on this. So don't ask me, don't hold your beer, universe. Just let shit play out. But this card, I think it's going to be a fun card.
It's funny. I was feeling the same way as I was excitedly discussing it. I was like starting to wonder if I should bite my tongue a little bit and just not put the negative energy out there. So that it's going to be like, yeah, after we get together next week and be like, so those 14 straight decisions were a lot of fun, huh?
How did we get some of those so many no contests from that weird shit?
That was great. 10 split decisions and 4 no contests. That was amazing, man. That was great.
Yeah. What a night.
What a night. Awesome, man. All right, well, listen, I'll let you get back to it. I know you're hanging out in Denver and you're working, but you're having a little fun as well, so I don't want to take up too much of your time. And I would recommend everybody, if you can watch some NCAA wrestling championships over the next 2 days and fit that in with your PFL and UFC as well. I think you enjoy it, so it's a lot of fun. So anyway, enjoy your time out there, Cold Coffee, and for everybody else, thanks for listening. Thank you.